This is the Newsload.
Hello, I'm Carrie Anne Stephenson, and I'm here with Newsload, and I'm here with Kyprios, and I believe you're in Vancouver right now?
I am. I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia, North Vancouver.
North Vancouver. What's the weather there right now?
It's clear, it's cold, it's super icy. There's a little bit of snow last night, which is kind of strange for this time of year, but it's cold and icy, but it's clear. And I apologize to anybody watching that there's a bunch of work being done outside. Everywhere in Vancouver, there's construction, so.
Oh my gosh, Ontario, London, Ontario too. You know, like it's winter and construction and then some, you know.
Where are you today?
I'm in London, Ontario, Canada.
Nice.
Yeah. So, do you want me to call you Kyprios?
Call me whatever you like. Yeah, as you like. Yeah.
Just not late for dinner, right?
I'll never be. I promise you that.
So, where did your nickname come from?
So stupid. It's really ridiculous. So growing up, I'm the youngest of 7 boys, and growing up, my dad's name is David, my name is David, and my next brother in chronological order couldn't pronounce baby David, but he got the first 2 syllables right, and he called me Bede. So growing up, everybody called me Bede, but somehow when I got into hip hop, I was like, I need a comic book character name. And I saw that name on the chalkboard at school one day and asked the teacher what it meant. And what she told me, the answer has never, ever been verified. I just took it and run. This is before, we're going to date her. Well, I'll date myself a little bit, but this is before you would just Google everything. So yeah, she said it was like Latin for like Lord, or like a Lord of the estate or whatever. And then I've done just minimal searches on my own and have never been able to verify that. But anytime I come across somebody who's Greek, if they rock with me, then they like to adopt me. So I'll take the Greek adoption, even though I've got no, Grecian in my blood.
Amazing. Kind of like typical parents, if a child asks, what's masturbation? It's a cracker, like.
It could be. It's a fun game to play with crackers, apparently, if you went to private school with boys.
Did you?
No,
you went to a regular Vancouver school?
Well, I went to a regular Catholic. My mom's super duper Catholic, so I went to a Catholic school. And then in high school, I went there. They had a really good basketball team, so I stayed there. I loved basketball. And my friends from elementary all really liked basketball, so we kind of rocked with this school. And it's not a bad school. The priests were very gentle.
Oh, that's nice. They didn't, beat your hands if you couldn't recite the song properly. No, okay.
Very gentle. Very gentle.
Good. So, I'm a fan, and I'm curious. Your talking voice is quite normal, but your sort of rapping voice is a little bit growly. I'm sorry, I'm not musical. So is growly the proper term to discuss your style?
I don't know. I mean, I think that when we listen to rap as kids, the idea, there wasn't a bunch of local color, you know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of when I was coming up, there wasn't a lot of Vancouver groups to base a sound or base a dialect, whatever. So I think that we just started kind of adopting New York isms, LA isms, and kind of put them together in order for it to sound more like it fit, So, and then I don't know, when I rap now, it's confusing. I think that I try to use my voice, but it's also I don't know, it's kind of melodic and rhythmic and you're trying to make sometimes words that aren't meant to be together sound nice together, so it's fun. It's a challenge. But yeah, I guess my speaking voice is different than my rapper voice.
And is that hard on your vocal cords to always be growling?
Well, I don't know if I growl. I mean, I've never heard. Yeah, I think that it's just wear and tear. I think when you record in a studio and when you perform live, it's a different thing. This voice or even lower will work in a studio, but it probably doesn't come across as well live. I think that, the challenge is to try to project more. It's like the difference between acting in film or acting in theater. Like film, you can be really reserved and subtle, whereas in theater, you're trying to project to the back of the room. And I think it's, even though you have a microphone when you perform, it's kind of a different microphone, and it's still the energy component. So, but no, I've never have problem with that. I mean, I just think over the years, like, you know, rappers, there was never like voice trainers, vocal trainers. You know, nobody was really warming up. So I think we'd blow our voices out on tour without knowing. And then just by virtue of that, at some point you start doing some research to try to be able to use your voice night in and night out, because we really beat the shit out of our voices and our ears, you know? Yeah,
absolutely. Do you have a vocal coach yourself, or are you self-taught?
I know I went to when I was living in Toronto, I had a guy that would help me, and he was like, I remember like I thought it was going to be like singing and techniques and shit, and he was just breathing. You know, it was all super duper fundamentals. And I had a guy in Vancouver that I went to a couple of times too, and he just gave me like some pointers on how to warm up. So, you know, 4 or 5 years of touring quite a bit without doing any vocal exercises or warming up, and then sounding like an idiot pre-show because you knew that if you blew your show, you know, you blew your voice out one night, that meant that the next 4 or 5 nights you were suffering. So, and me as well, like I sing a little bit too. I've always kind of sung hooks, and you know, if you can't access your upper register, then your songs are going to go, you know, they're just not going to connect.
I love how you say that you sound like an idiot, because rap is very masculine and everything, and then all you're like, ha, 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 ha,
yeah.
You know?
Like it's really, yeah,
stretching, you know, like pulling some yoga and everything, and it's like I'm a badass rapper, but you know, like may I have some Earl Grey, please?
Oh my God, some chamomile, a little bit of lemon and honey. Have you got any back there? Any throat coat? Yeah, it's pretty funny, but hey, it's the way. Like, you know, if you get nodes, you know, like it's not as bad as it was. But you remember Julie Andrews from Sound of Music, Julie Andrews. You know, you get calluses on your vocal cords that then you can't perform anymore, and that really sidelined her career. There's at least surgeries nowadays that can get you kind of similar, but like, you know, we remember hearing stories like that and not being able to talk for like a week, going, oh man, I got the nodes, I'm done. And then, you know, you've got laryngitis, your voice comes back or whatever. But yeah, man, vocal warm-ups, it's real. It's real out here.
It's real. I believe it. So I have to talk about my favorite music video. Ignorance is Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It's so visually impressive. The scientist girls are phenomenal. You know, the headshot where you're just a head on a table. Can we talk about, like, it obviously is a prop, so there's a hole in the table.
Yes, correct.
Like,
yeah, so there was a hole in, you know, you got to take in mind that this was 2005. So I think it was green screened, a hole in the table, girls there. And then, you know, that video was very like CG. You know, what's funny is like the original treatment was just the skateboard part. There's a part where me and Jason Jones and a couple of people are just like skateboarding around Toronto. And that was the treatment. And then the director was like, well, we need to do this, and that. And it just got wild. I mean, my daughter can't watch, she hates that video. She's like, I can't watch it. Your baby head and the girl, you know, riding on the horse or on the bomb or whatever. It's just like, she can't watch it. There's so much going on, but no, it was fun. It was super fun to shoot. It was super fun to shoot.
The devil makeup that I love, where you're like lighting a cigar and everything. Was it sticky? Was it theater? Was it hard to come off? Were you stained for days?
They were, you know, it was funny because at that time I was with Sony Canada. So they had I mean, they had money, so they had really good makeup artists that knew what they were doing. You know, we're so used to doing so much independently, and then you have professionals around that do things easily in the right way. So no, they made it super duper painless. Like, you know, I was in the makeup chair for quite a bit of time, but you know, they were lovely, and it all actually came off pretty good. It was, I think I was in a suit, and then they just had to do my hands and my head, and no, they knew what they were doing. It was super painless. It's just like when we do shit on our own, that's when it gets sloppy, messy, and stays on you forever.
Yeah. That's the Halloween, you know, tradition. 2 or 3 days later, you still have the clown ring around your face or something like that. And it's like, well, that was a bad idea. One year I was a troll, you know, the stupid with the spiky hair, those little.
Oh yeah, like a gnome or whatever.
Yeah, and a gnome. Yeah. And I dyed my hair green with Bingo Dabber dye. So for about a month after, because I was blonde at the time, about a month after, my hair was green, and that was just Halloween hair.
Holy shit, that's so good. That's so wild. Yeah, that's what it is. That's totally what it is. You do it yourself, and then you're screwed for a week. And bingo dye just seems like the appropriate idea at the time.
Yeah, because you're, you know, going to the dollar store and you're, you know, like it just in like maybe grade 9 kind of thing. And so funny.
Have you ever had like, that sounds like a good costume. For whatever reason, like there's certain things I'm creative at. Like I'm good, you know, like if I got a blank page, I'll be able to darken that page pretty well. But I've never really had a Halloween costume that I was like, yep, that was great. I've never had a great Halloween costume.
Well, my mother was a single mother, and for some reason she was so creative and so fabulous. She made hula skirts out of garbage bags. She was pretty phenomenal. I was a robot with tinfoil and boxes. Like she was terrific. She was a good mom with the Halloween costumes, not gonna lie.
So did that carry over though? Are you now handy with can you make a nice Halloween costume?
I'm motivated to get back into it, I have to admit, but the truth is, you know, the slutty costume is so easy to get away with, you know, like less is more. So
it's the best prefix for Halloween. It's just like the slutty nurse, the slutty teacher, the slutty robot. You know, it's just a prefix.
Yeah. It's so much better. I have to ask about the beautiful girls in the Ignorance is Beautiful modeling thing. Like, did you get to audition them yourself, or did they just show up and you were like, this is amazing?
You know, it's funny because that song was never, one, it wasn't supposed to be on the album, and two, it wasn't supposed to be a single. And so when it came to I was very hands-on for This Is My Hit. I kind of wrote the treatment, and then Sean Michael Terrell, who directed it, he figured out how to do the cinematography. Like he really did the heavy lifting on that. And in this one, because I hadn't given it much thought, like I was kind of like, you know, skateboarding around the city. And as I said, it got way out of control and over budget. So I don't think that I was necessarily in on the casting sessions then. I think that the director had a vision, they had a talent, they put a call out. And as I said, back then in Toronto, like if it was a label and it wasn't like a factor video, everybody was getting paid. You know, everybody was, so the girls who were there would have showed up and they would have caught a paycheck. But lots of times, you know, if you're doing a video, it's pro bono. You just come through on the love.
Yeah. You call out your fans and go like, okay, we're meeting at the parking lot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I wasn't there. Nobody was on the casting couch. I didn't get to audition them. I don't know those girls personally. They weren't friends.
Well, they were beautiful, and you know, the past, you know, over a decade, I've enjoyed that music video, and always so inspired by your, if I may say, your facial expressions. You know, like you really have so much character when you rap, and what you're saying is so interesting. I really love it.
it's funny. I look at that stuff now, and we're all so self-critical, and I think that I'm completely overdoing it. Like I'm trying so hard to work energy through the camera, and not, like now I think I get more inspired and motivated when people can just lay back and let their art kind of speak for it. I was always so trying to sell it. I was trying to really sell my ideas and as opposed to just letting the music and the lyrics work. I was always like super animated and trying to get it out. And now looking back, it's funny that you bring that up, because I look back now, I'm like, oh man, I really was overdoing it.
No, I love the overdoing it. With my theater and my comedy background, being able to introduce that into hip hop, it makes it more accessible for the people who aren't, into rap really, I don't know anything about Compton. I don't know anything about the Bloods and the Crips. I'm from London, Ontario, Canada. You know what I mean? Like the worst thing that we have to deal with. Yeah. Human trafficking from Toronto, like, ugh.
Right.
Anything that is very quiet. It's all very quiet. So.
Right.
But being able to see you so animated and, like giving personality in it. You're not just a mean old gangster,
No. And I was never going to portray myself as something that I wasn't, nor that I believed in. And that's one good thing, is looking back at that album that came out so many years ago, is that I still can look back and be like, that was honest. And that was honest reflection of where I was at that point in my life. As I said, like, as much as I look back and think maybe I was overdoing it there's times that I think either with the lyric that it's maybe not something that I would write today. But I appreciate the expression, and I also appreciate the fact that, I can share these things with my daughter. She can make fun of her dad for videos, but at least like the things that I was saying and what I stood for, things that I still stand for and things that I still believe. I just, I may express it a little bit differently now after, maturing a little bit and just kind of getting better at my craft.
But I do find, a lot of our protesting and influential artists of the past, Joni Mitchell and all of our people who had a lot to say when they were young. I feel that being young and angry and energetic and having the gumption to fight also helps us with our art and our expression. And one of the things that I love is in This Is My Hit, 14 and a girl, and you're the number one target in the world. That's still true to this day. It's so political and feminist and beautiful to be able to talk about that in rap culture, which is mostly just, sex and bitches, right?
Yeah. And consumerism, like it's really, at the end of the day, it's a business, and it's a business that has been so disproportionately, the wealth has been so unfairly distributed. It's so easy to exploit something that somebody is ready and willing to give away for free. If we're sitting here and my wife and I are done, it's going to be very difficult for a divorce lawyer to be in there and be like, yeah, I'm just going to draft up this little affidavit for you and get a subpoena and blah, blah, blah. It's like, fuck that. You're going to have to pay. But if we're all sitting around and somebody pulls out a guitar, it's like, oh yeah, I'll sing a song. Like, we love to entertain, so it's easy to exploit. But back to the 14-year-old and a girl, it was funny because I was independent and went into this corporate model. And when I started discovering things of like, I didn't know about a target audience or what a demographic was. And then you start finding out like, well, who are the consumers and who buys this stuff? And then, because people were still buying physical CDs and tapes, it was just kind of like that era was just like the advent of like LimeWire and like pirating music. But it was still the number one consumer of people that were buying music was 14. So these companies and these ad agencies were united in focusing their attentions on how do we grab attention from these people. And I just thought that, it went against the basis of shouldn't you create art first and then try to find an audience? as opposed to creating a product that goes toward this person that has expendable income that will put towards your product. So yeah, I thought that was sad. And again, in that video, that girl was great. We cast her. There's a girl in that part, and she was really she was really talented. She was hip and she got it. And I think that she was a musician as well. But yeah, it's true. I don't know if it's as true today because I haven't really paid too much attention, and the industry's changed so much. But absolutely. And the other point that you brought up about being young and angry, it's like young, angry, and somewhat careless, like for me, if I would never start the career that I started as a 17-year-old, 18-year-old man, because I'm just too pragmatic and you think but then there was nothing that you could put in my way that was going to stop me. So that youthful exuberance and energy and like just not caring. Whereas now I'm so sorry about the hammering. It's right there, but yeah, you're young and you're wild and you really don't give a shit. And lots of times you don't have the commitments. You don't have the responsibility and the commitments.
Yeah. You don't have the mortgage. You don't have the 3
children,
the
wife.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
the car payment, whether it deflect all of that.
Yeah, it's almost like art and freedom and cluelessness. It's all so beautiful, and your career has been wonderful. Are you planning any summer tours, festivals, or anything that we should look out for?
I am planning. I toured for a long time, and as you know, the country's landscape in Canada is very unforgiving. It's difficult to get across this country in a vehicle. It just takes time, like you kind of hit the major cities, and even if you're getting out to Toronto, it's like, so you finish in Winnipeg, you're probably not going to be playing Kenora, but it's Winnipeg to Thunder Bay. That's one gig, and then like your next gig is like Peterborough or whatever. Like and between those, it's like 2 days, it's like 13 hours, I think, from Winnipeg to Thunder Bay. And then like another 15 to get to your next gig. Like that's a big chunk of time. And it's not as bad. Like once you get into Ontario, there's, the market is big. You've got London and Kingston and, you can go out and play Ajax and you can, there's a bunch of wonderful places that you can play. But, it's kind of like it's hard to get out there. So touring, I'm not planning a tour. Yeah, there'll be a couple of gigs, one-offs here and there, but I just can't. I can't really see myself getting in a car for 6 weeks and rounding the bases right now. I'm not promoting anything. I haven't got an album out. So yeah, but I started DJing like 5 years ago. Like every washed up rapper turns to DJing at some point, and it's been fantastic. It's been a great outlet for me, and still be able to connect very heavily with music and just and have it at your fingertips is wonderful.
Because music connects people, and being able to see even the DJ, the performer, the almost the conductor of the energy and of the experience. And in comedy, it's the same way with stand-up, because it's you and the mic, and you can either make them laugh or you can't. And with music, you can share the excitement and the passion that you carry towards music. So I love that you're still with the crowds, that you're still connecting with us, and your Ignorance is Beautiful music video is keeping me happy. So,
well, I got to tell you, out of all like the creative pursuits, I truly hold comedy above all. I just think that, to be so brave. I mean, the shows that I've done, I've done some spoken word poetry, and that's different because you can go off and go this way and go that way. And it can be very masturbatory. Whereas stand-up comedy, it's like, it's you and a mic and your material and a crowd. And the courage that goes into it is is incredible. And the stakes are high every night because it's not a controlled atmosphere. It's not like you know what you're getting every night. You're like, okay, I've got 35 people. They've all had 3 drinks each and they've all had wonderful days. It's like, no, this guy's an asshole. This person's not drinking. This person, those 3 tables have drank way too much. And being able, like, a DJ makes a quick read and then it's like, okay, cool. This is an ABBA crowd or whatever, you know, but I think it's, and you can have, and especially now you can flip anything musically. But for a comedian to be able to read a crowd and then be able to know how to make their material work, it's such a profound gift. And it just takes so many years. And it, you know, it's a hard grind, but I love, going to comedy and somebody making you laugh, like, come on, to have a good laugh is great. It's one of the greatest feelings. So I really respect what you do. It's incredible. Yeah.
Well, I've been a huge fan of yours for forever, and I adore what you do. So thank you. But there is a little honesty about the fact that they say laugh is like a little massage kind of thing. It relaxes you, the endorphins, everything. It's all, a positive influence. So I really appreciate that you respect comedy and hope. Or if you're ever in the London or Toronto area, please hook me up and let me see you in person. That would be incredible. But just one last request. I'm doing a study for men's health, and we're asking all the boys what kind of underwear they're wearing.
Oh, I'm wearing Saks. I've got expensive undies on today for you and for this podcast. Now, like for me, like I've got tiers, right? I've got like top tier. Today's top tier, but they're expensive, so you can only have like 3 or 4 pair of top tier. Then you've got your like mid-range joints, right? And then you've maybe worn the nice pair of undies twice already and inside out. And then you're at like when those bottom ones comes out, you don't want to be changing with anybody. You don't really want anybody to see you. But today, just done laundry. They're boxer briefs, top tier, 1 of 3 pairs. Let's go. It's going to be a lovely day.
I've heard wonderful things about Saks. The support is very good and such. Nurses recommend it because I have a client that suffered from testicular torsion. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's ball twisting, which is a medical issue that you can get while you're riding your bike or something, and they just flip kind of thing, and it can be excruciating. So I'm glad you're saxing and cupping and supporting. So that's wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, the fellas are good. They're smiling today.
Good. Well, one last thing. If you could say it loud, if you could say it proud, I love Newsload.
I love Newsload.
Thank you so much, Kyprios. I hope you have an amazing day.
You as well. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great to talk to you.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
This is the Newsload.